They say every neighborhood has that one person, the self-appointed ruler who thinks the world would crumble without their clipboard. I didn't believe it, until the day mine broke into my house. My name's Ethan Cole. I spent 20 years as a detective, seen the worst of humanity, and all I wanted was a quiet life. What I got instead was Linda Myers, president of the Oak Ridge Estates HOA. And the woman who made me realize peace and quiet can be a crime. The front door slammed so hard against the wall that the frames on my hallway rattled like a tiny earthquake. Family photos clattered in protest as a woman stormed in, mid-50s, blonde curls stiff as her posture, polyester suit creaking with every furious step. She moved like a hurricane wrapped in perfume. In one hand, she clutched a clipboard like it was a sword of justice. A shiny HOA president pin caught the sunlight streaming through my window, almost blinding me. "This is the third violation this month," she barked, voice sharp enough to slice glass. "Your grass is half an inch too tall, your garbage cans were visible for 37 minutes past pickup time, and don't even get me started on that eyesore you call a mailbox." I froze mid-sip of coffee, standing at the edge of my living room. This stranger was in my kitchen, in my house, lecturing me about grass height. I hadn't even said a word yet. She strutted across the tiles, running a finger along my countertop like she was testing for dust. Then, God help me, she opened my fridge. She sniffed, wrinkling her nose. "Unacceptable," she muttered. "Excuse me?" I finally said, keeping my tone calm. "You need to leave. Now." She spun on her heel with theatrical precision, like she'd practiced this in front of a mirror. "I am Linda Myers," she announced, eyes gleaming with righteousness. "President of the Oak Ridge Estates Homeowners Association. And I have every right to inspect properties for compliance." She raised her clipboard again, ready to strike with another rule. That was the moment I realized, this woman actually believed she had authority inside my home. "Ma'am," I said, setting my mug down. "You've just committed a felony." 3 weeks earlier, I'd moved into Oak Ridge, a peaceful, suburban neighborhood full of trimmed lawns, SUV driveways, and friendly smiles. After 2 decades on the force, I was ready for normal life, barbecues, gardening, weekends without sirens. But apparently, Linda had other plans. From the day I moved in, she zeroed in on me like a heat-seeking missile. First, my mailbox was 2 inches below HOA standards. Then, my driveway had an oil stain that violated Section 12.4 of the neighborhood charter. She even complained that the blue on my American flag wasn't the proper shade. I tried to be polite. Nodded. Smiled. Thought maybe she'd back off. She didn't. Neighbors warned me, their voices carrying that tired tone of people who'd already fought and lost. "That's just Linda," they said. "She's been president for years. Thinks she runs a military base." I'd dealt with worse in my line of work. I figured I could handle one overzealous HOA president. Turns out, I underestimated her, badly. The first real showdown came a week after I moved in. Saturday afternoon. I was in my backyard grilling a few burgers for some neighbors. Good music, cold beer, laughter, nothing crazy. We wrapped up by 8, well before noise curfew. Linda showed up at 6:30. She came marching through the gate, measuring tape in hand. 4.7 feet, she declared triumphantly, stretching the tape between my grill and the property line. HOA regulation requires 5. You're in violation. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. After that, things escalated fast. I started getting notes on my door, aggressive, all caps typing. Your hedges are asymmetrical. Your doormat is not regulation brown. Your car was parked facing the wrong direction for 14 minutes. It became daily harassment. One night, I caught the flash of a camera through my window. Another time, I found her peeking over my backyard fence with a step ladder, like a nosy raccoon in pearls. When I confronted her, she said she was documenting architectural inconsistencies. Right. And I was starting to document a stalker. But I stayed calm. Always calm. Old habit. Then came the gossip. Somehow, people I'd never even met already knew my so-called violations. Turns out Linda had created a private Facebook group, Oak Ridge Compliance Watch. She posted pictures of my yard, my car, my house. Sometimes Photoshopped to make things look worse. She was running a propaganda campaign, and I was the villain. I told myself to ignore it. She'd get bored. She'd move on. But people like Linda don't move on. They double down. And the day she crossed my threshold, she crossed the line. That afternoon, I was in my backyard again, replacing a few warped fence boards. Noise-canceling headphones on, old rock music humming in my ears. Didn't hear the door. Didn't hear the click of heels on tile. But she did. She'd been watching. She saw me step outside, noticed I'd left the front door unlocked while hauling lumber in and out. To her, that wasn't my home, it was an opportunity. She slipped in like a thief, quiet in her sensible flats, clipboard at the ready. 45 minutes later, sweaty but content, I came inside for a drink of water, and froze. Linda stood at my dining table, hunched over my mail, bills, letters, even a birthday card from my mother, spread out in neat little piles. She was photographing everything. Drawers were open. My calendar exposed. The clipboard was now a prop in a crime scene. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" I asked, voice low, that tone I hadn't used since my days on the force. She straightened, puffing out her chest like a peacock. "I'm conducting a lawful inspection," she said. "You've been reported for multiple violations, and I have the authority to investigate." "No," I said, pulling my phone from my pocket, hitting record. "You have zero authority to enter someone's home. That's called breaking and entering, Linda. Trespassing. Invasion of privacy. And depending on what you photographed." I took a step forward. "Possible identity theft." She laughed, sharp, dismissive. "Don't be ridiculous. The HOA charter gives me full inspection rights." I smiled. Just enough to make her flinch. "Really? Show me where it says you can enter private property without consent." "I'll wait." Her confidence cracked. Her hands trembled as she flipped through her papers. It's implied," she stammered. "How else am I supposed to ensure compliance?" "Like a normal person," I said evenly. "From the outside." And then I reached into my wallet. "Let me show you something, Linda." I flipped open my badge. The color drained from her face like water from a sink. Her clipboard slipped from her hands, clattering to the floor. Linda's face went pale as marble. She stared at my badge like it was a weapon. "Why, you're a cop," she stuttered. "Was," I corrected, voice calm but cold. 20 years on the force. Homicide. Fraud. The kind of crimes you might want to Google before breaking into someone's house. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out, just a small, strangled gasp. I tilted my head toward the corner of the room. "See that little black dot on the wall?" I said. "That's a camera. It's been recording since you kicked my door open. There's another one in the kitchen, and another by the front door." Her eyes darted toward them, wide with realization. I didn't have to raise my voice. The truth did that for me. "Linda, you're being recorded committing a felony," I said flatly. "You might want to start thinking about what you'll tell the officers when they arrive." Her jaw clenched. The fake confidence melted away, replaced by panic. "This is a misunderstanding," she pleaded. "I thought I heard you say come in from the backyard." I arched an eyebrow. "Through my noise-canceling headphones? That's impressive hearing." She took a step forward. "We can work this out," she whispered. "I'll leave right now. We can just pretend this never happened." "That's not how crime works," I replied. "You don't get to undo breaking and entering because you regret it." I pulled out my phone and began to dial. Her composure shattered completely. "Wait. Please. Mr. Cole, please, I can fix this. I'll waive your violations, approve your mailbox, anything. Too late, I said simply. I brought the phone to my ear. Dispatch, this is Ethan Cole, retired detective, badge number 2914. I've got a burglary suspect in my residence. Still unseen. When I hung up, the silence was deafening again. She sat down heavily in my dining chair, the same one she'd been leaning over while violating my privacy minutes ago. Her eyes welled up. Her lips trembled. I have a reputation, she whispered. I run a real estate agency. This will ruin me. You should have thought of that before you broke into someone's home, I said evenly. Outside, I could already hear sirens echoing faintly in the distance. Linda heard them too. Her breathing quickened. Desperation flickered in her eyes. I'll resign from the HOA, she said quickly. I'll pay for your fence. I'll apologize to the neighbors. Just, please, don't do this. I leaned against the counter, crossing my arms. This isn't about fences or fines anymore. This is about consequences. 5 minutes later, the red and blue lights painted my living room walls. 2 officers stepped through the still-open front door, Officer Daniels and Officer Reyes, both from the local precinct. Evening, sir, Daniels said, nodding. You reported a burglary? Yeah, I replied, gesturing toward Linda, who sat motionless at the table. Caught her inside my home without permission. She was photographing personal mail and documents. Security footage backs it up. Reyes glanced at her clipboard on the floor, then at Linda, who looked like she was about to faint. Ma'am, he said gently, is that true? She shook her head furiously. No, I was conducting an HOA inspection. Daniels frowned. Inside his house? It's part of my job, she blurted. I have authority. I couldn't help but chuckle softly. You might want to stop talking. Reyes sighed, turning to Daniels. We've got probable cause. Ma'am, Daniels said, stepping forward, please stand up and put your hands behind your back. Linda recoiled like he'd struck her. You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. I know the mayor. My husband's a lawyer. None of that matters right now, Daniels replied. You're under arrest for criminal trespass and unlawful entry. The metallic click of handcuffs filled the air, a sound I'd heard 1,000 times, but never with this kind of satisfaction. Linda's face twisted between rage and humiliation. This is ridiculous, she screamed. It's his word against mine. Actually, I said, holding out my phone. It's your actions against high-def video evidence. Reyes took the phone, watched for a few seconds, then nodded grimly. Yup. That'll do it. As they led her out the door, Linda threw one last glare over her shoulder, eyes blazing with venom. You'll regret this, she spat. I'll sue you for false arrest. I'll make your life hell. I just smiled. Looking forward to it. Neighbors had already gathered on their lawns, watching the commotion. Some looked shocked. Others looked satisfied. Mrs. Chang, the sweet woman from 2 doors down, started a slow clap. Bob Miller across the street raised his beer in a mock toast. I couldn't help but grin. Apparently, I wasn't the only one Linda had terrorized. Officer Daniels nodded as he led her to the cruiser. We'll take it from here, sir. Appreciate it, I said, handing him the footage on a flash drive. She's been harassing the whole neighborhood. You might be getting more statements soon. As the cruiser pulled away, Linda's muffled shouts echoed through the rolled-up window. And just like that, the storm was gone. That night, I sat on my porch, watching the sunset dip behind the trees. For the first time since moving here, the neighborhood was quiet. No measuring tapes. No letters taped to my door. Just silence. I thought it was over. But I should have known better. People like Linda don't go down easy. They crawl. They scratch. They drag you with them. Because the next morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Cole, a voice said, female, nervous. This is Allison Grant. I'm the vice president of the Oak Ridge HOA. I need to talk to you. It's about Linda. I frowned. She's in custody. I know, Allison said, lowering her voice. But before she was arrested, she posted something. On the neighborhood Facebook group. I felt my stomach tighten. What kind of something? She uploaded videos. Photos. Stuff she took from inside your house. Your mail. Personal documents. My pulse spiked. You're telling me she posted that online? Yes, she said. And not just that, she accused you of corruption. Said you threatened her. The comments section is, it's bad. Of course she did. Even in handcuffs, Linda Myers couldn't resist one last strike. By noon, my phone was buzzing non-stop, messages from neighbors, coworkers, even old friends. Screenshots. Links. Angry emojis. The HOA Facebook group had exploded overnight. So much for our hero cop. If he's innocent, why did Linda have all that evidence? This guy's dangerous. Shouldn't even be living here. It didn't matter that the truth was recorded. People love a scandal more than justice. For years, I'd dealt with criminals who'd lie to save face. But Linda wasn't a criminal, at least not in her mind. She was a queen defending her throne. And even behind bars, she was still playing the game. 3 days after Linda's arrest, Oak Ridge felt different. The air was lighter. The neighborhood group chat was quiet for the first time in years. Even the mailboxes looked relieved. But peace never lasts long, not when someone like Linda Myers is involved. I was sipping coffee on my porch that Thursday morning when a familiar black sedan rolled slowly down the street. The passenger window was cracked. And there she was, sitting in the back seat, sunglasses on, jaw tight. Linda. Out on bail. The car didn't stop, but her gaze met mine for half a second. Cold. Burning. Like a snake testing the glass of its tank. My neighbor Bob stepped out with his morning paper. You see that? He muttered. She's back. Yeah, I said quietly. But not for long. By evening, the Facebook group was alive again. Anonymous posts, same writing style. Fake accounts with names like Oak Ridge Resident 99 and Concerned Neighbor. All accusing me of abusing power, falsifying evidence, framing an innocent woman. Linda's husband, Richard Myers, the lawyer she kept bragging about, was suddenly everywhere. Talking about civil rights violations and defamation. The strategy was obvious: muddy the waters, make me look like the villain. I ignored it. Let them dig their own graves. But around 11 p.m. that night, as I was locking up, I caught something on my front camera feed. Movement. A shadow near my side fence. I zoomed in. The figure was short, feminine, wearing a hoodie and gloves. And even in the grainy night vision, I recognized the walk. Linda. Unbelievable, I muttered, grabbing my phone. I opened the security app, every camera was rolling, audio synced. This time, she wasn't getting away with a single frame. I stayed quiet, lights off, waiting. Through the feed, I watched her creep along the side of my house, clutching something metallic. Not a weapon, a small crowbar. She pried open my side gate, slipped in like a burglar who'd done this before. My phone buzzed, motion sensors inside. Living room. Kitchen. She was inside. I could have called the cops right then. But a part of me, the detective part, wanted to see it. To end it clean. I grabbed my old service flashlight and stepped out the back door, circling quietly toward the front. Every step was deliberate. Every sound amplified. The adrenaline was back, old instincts kicking in like I'd never retired. From outside, I could see her silhouette through the blinds, rummaging through drawers again. camera flash glinting. She was taking pictures of my files. I took a slow breath. Time to end this. I unlocked the door and stepped inside, silent as a shadow. She didn't hear me. She was too busy flipping through my notebook, muttering to herself. Where is it? He has to have something I can use. Her voice trembled, desperate, frantic. The kind of tone people get when they realize they've lost everything. I clicked the flashlight on. She froze. The beam hit her square in the face. Looking for something, Linda? Her eyes widened. The clipboard fell from her hands. Ethan. I was just breaking into my house again? I cut in, calm but sharp. I thought we covered that. I can explain, she gasped. Richard said I just needed proof that you framed me. You mean proof that you committed another felony? I stepped closer, flashlight steady. Because congratulations, you just handed it to me. Her breathing turned ragged. You set me up, she hissed. You wanted me to come back. I smiled slightly. Linda, I didn't need to set you up. You did that all by yourself. I pointed to the corner of the room. See that red light? Yeah. That's my new security system. Cloud-backed, live feed recording. Everything you've done tonight's already uploaded. Her composure shattered. She lunged toward me, maybe to grab the phone, maybe just out of panic. Old instincts kicked in. I sidestepped, caught her wrist, and twisted just enough to make her drop the flashlight. Don't, I said quietly. You really don't want to add assault to your list. She froze, trembling, her breath hitching. Tears welled up, but the fury was still there, that entitled, unbreakable arrogance. I'll ruin you, she spat. You think a video will save you? You're nothing here. You're nobody. Funny, I said, pulling my phone from my pocket. Because the police seem to answer my calls pretty fast. I hit one button. Direct line. Dispatch, this is Ethan Cole again. Same address. Same suspect. She's back. It didn't take long. Sirens cut through the night air within minutes, their blue light flickering through the blinds like lightning. Linda sank to the floor, shaking her head in disbelief. You set me up, she whispered again, like she couldn't process it. Linda, I said softly, you broke into a cop's house. Twice. You set yourself up. When Officer Daniels and Reyes stepped in again, the look on their faces said it all. They didn't even need an explanation this time. Ma'am, Reyes said, sighing, stand up. Please tell me this isn't happening again. Linda covered her face with her hands. You don't understand. He's lying. He tricked me. Daniel shook his head. We've got a live feed uploaded to the precinct server. You might want to save that story for the judge. He cuffed her again, gently but firmly. Linda didn't fight this time. She just stared at the floor, her shoulders trembling. As they let her out the second time, the neighborhood had gathered once more, flashlights and cell phones lighting up the street. Whispers buzzed through the crowd like static. Bob muttered from his driveway, "Deja vu, huh?" I nodded. Yeah. Except this time, it's the encore. After the squad car rolled away, I stood alone on the porch, the cool night air cutting through the tension. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt pity. Somewhere beneath all that arrogance, Linda Myers was just a woman who couldn't handle losing control. And control was all she ever had. Still, justice is justice. And this time, there was no Facebook post, no fake account, no husband's press release that could spin her way out of it. She was done. Or so I thought. Because the next morning, the local paper hit doorsteps with a headline that nearly made me choke on my coffee. HOA president arrested again, claims police entrapment. Below it, a photo of Linda in cuffs, head down, mascara streaked. And right next to it, a smaller photo of me, taken from her Facebook posts. The war wasn't just local anymore. It was public. And what came next would drag both of us into something neither of us could control. The morning after the second arrest, the whole neighborhood buzzed like a hornet's nest. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone had a story. And every single one of them started with the same name, Linda Myers. The news vans arrived before noon. Reporters stood on the corner of Maple and Birch, cameras rolling, narrating in their serious voices. Oak Ridge HOA president arrested for breaking into a resident's home, twice. I didn't say a word to the press. Didn't need to. The footage said everything for me. Still, the phone wouldn't stop ringing. The DA's office. The HOA board. Even Richard Myers, Linda's husband. He wanted to negotiate. I let it go to voicemail. A week later, I was called down to the courthouse to testify. The moment I walked into that room, I saw her, Linda, sitting beside her lawyer, looking like a ghost of the woman who once terrorized an entire neighborhood with a clipboard. No blazer. No perfect curls. Just a plain gray sweater, hands clasped tightly, eyes hollow. When the prosecutor played the footage, the clips from my home cameras, the sound of the door slamming echoed through the courtroom. Every gasp, every frantic shuffle, every word she said about authority and inspection rights played out in brutal clarity. Linda couldn't look up. Her lawyer just stared at the table. When it was my turn to speak, I kept it simple. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm a retired detective. All I wanted was a quiet life. What I got was harassment, trespassing, and invasion of privacy. This wasn't about a mailbox or a lawn. This was about power and what happens when someone forgets where theirs ends. You could have heard a pin drop. When the judge read the verdict, Linda's mask finally cracked. 1 year of probation, he said. $5,000 in fines. 200 hours of community service. And permanent removal from the Oak Ridge HOA board. Her breath hitched. Her shoulders shook. She didn't cry out loud. She just deflated. Her husband's face was blank. He didn't even look at her when the gavel hit. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions. Mr. Cole, do you think the punishment was fair? Is the HOA shutting down? Do you plan to press civil charges? I just said, justice was served, and walked away. That night, the Oak Ridge HOA held an emergency meeting, open to all residents. I didn't plan to go, but curiosity got the better of me. The community center was packed. For the first time, people weren't whispering. They were speaking. Telling their stories. Mrs. Chong stood up first. She fined me $200 for painting my door the wrong shade of red, she said. Bob Miller followed. She tried to make me cut down my maple tree because it dropped leaves on her sidewalk. Then another. And another. Linda sat at the back, small and silent, listening as her empire crumbled one testimony at a time. When the vote came, it was unanimous. Linda Myers was permanently removed as HOA president. Effective immediately. Someone clapped. Then another. Then the whole room erupted in applause. For the first time since I'd moved to Oak Ridge, people were free. A week later, I saw her one last time. At the community park, during her court-ordered cleanup shift. She wore an orange vest, picking up trash along the walkway, head down. I almost walked past her, but she noticed me. Our eyes met. For a moment, I thought she might say something, apologize, maybe. Instead, she just looked away, jaw trembling. That was enough. I didn't hate her. I didn't need to. She'd already destroyed herself. Months passed. The neighborhood changed. Lawns still got trimmed, mailboxes still painted, but nobody feared the sound of heels on pavement anymore. We had block parties again. Kids played in the street. It felt normal. Peaceful. Sometimes, I'd sit on my porch in the evening, coffee in hand, watching the sun dip below the roofs. The same quiet I'd always wanted, but this time, I'd earned it. And when new neighbors moved in, I'd give them the same advice every veteran cop learns the hard way. Trust your instincts. Lock your doors. And if someone named Linda ever knocks, don't answer. People ask me sometimes if I regret pressing charges. If I wish I'd let it go. The answer's simple. In 20 years on the force, I learned that the law isn't just about catching killers or thieves. It's about drawing lines and protecting people when someone decides they're above them. Linda Myers thought rules were for everyone but her. And in the end, that belief cost her everything. So, no. I don't regret it. Because peace isn't something you find. It's something you fight for.